The local bakery downtown was completely packed. Steam rose from the massive brick oven, and the delicious scent of fresh baking dough filled the air. But despite the cozy smell, the atmosphere inside was incredibly tense. The baker behind the counter was sweating profusely, his face red with exhaustion. He was shouting at the customers, slamming trays, and rushing so much that he kept burning some loaves of bread while leaving others completely doughy in the center. The crowd grew larger, and impatient customers began snapping at him to hurry up. The poor baker looked like he was about to boil over with rage. I stood there quietly for a few minutes, watching the chaos unfold. When it was finally my turn, the baker pulled out a couple of artisanal loaves meant for me. They were deeply browned, sitting right on the thin edge of being completely burnt. Instead of complaining or demanding a fresh batch like everyone else, I looked at the bread, smiled warmly, and looked him in the eye. "Wow," I said, "you must be an incredibly skilled baker. To get a crust this perfectly crisp and golden red without actually burning the inside requires a real master's touch. Not just anyone can manage a brick oven like this." The baker stopped dead in his tracks. He stared at me for a few seconds, completely stunned, as if he couldn't believe what he had just heard. I gave him an encouraging nod. "Honestly, this neighborhood is lucky to have an artisan like you in this bakery. I bet no one else around here possesses your level of experience." It was as if a massive weight had been lifted right off his shoulders. The anger in his eyes melted away, a bright, genuine smile broke across his tired face, and his posture softened completely. "Thank you, sir," he said, his voice thick with gratitude. "If people would just show a little patience and understanding, I could give every single one of them the best quality bread of their lives." Years have passed since that evening, but to this very day, whenever I walk into that bakery, I receive absolute royal treatment. Just this morning, the bakery was overflowing with a chaotic rush-hour crowd. The master baker was sitting on a stool, finally taking a brief break to eat his own breakfast, while his young apprentice handled the oven. The moment his eyes met mine through the crowd, he stood straight up. He put his coffee down and called out to his apprentice, "Keep serving the line, but let me handle this gentleman's order personally." He quickly washed his hands, prepped a fresh batch of dough, and baked me a set of premium, customized sesame-crusted loaves, fresh and piping hot. The other customers in line stared at me, wondering if I was some sort of high-profile food critic or local VIP. As I walked out into the cool morning air, cradling the warm bag of bread, I couldn't help but smile. I wasn't a VIP. I had simply practiced a core Christian value that we so often read about in Scripture, the Golden Rule, to treat others with grace, kindness, and deep respect. A gentle answer turns away wrath, but a harsh word stirs up anger. By offering a few words of validation to a stressed, overworked human being, I didn't just get better service, I helped restore a man's dignity in the middle of a brutal day. We often complicate the journey of life, searching for elaborate ways to find peace and build good relationships. But the truth is beautifully simple. If we all decided to navigate our daily routines with a heart full of empathy, kind words, and patience, we wouldn't just improve our own lives, we would bring a little piece of heaven right down to earth. If you enjoyed this story, please support our page by sending stars and becoming a subscriber.